Richard Matt and David Sweat may have had help escaping. Police are questioning Joyce Mitchell. Mitchell worked in the prison tailor shop with the dangerous inmates.
You're working with people sometimes for years on end, and the staff becomes complacent, and you get into, friendship kinds of relationships with them.
This woman knows more about what they were intending to do than anyone.
You're not going to be able to really cure this problem as long as you have inmates that are male and female, and then you have correctional workers that are male or female. You're going to have flirting and you're going to have relationships.
And in this case, a prison worker allegedly, reportedly says a convicted killer who escaped made her feel, quote, special. We do not know the nature of the relationship, but investigators want to know if she had helped these two men who have now been on the run for almost a week. Back with Sam, Judy, and Karamo. And in the audience, I have Larry Levine, former federal inmate and founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants. Larry, thanks for joining us. We saw you in the tape there. You're saying it's common for people to fraternize across boundaries. People who are the prisoners, people who are the prison workers, develop real intimate relationships.
Well, when you work with people day in and day out for years, how could you not develop a relationship? It happens. You become their friend, their confidant. They're having problems at home with their families, with their kids, with their co-workers, and the staff will talk to you.
You were a federal inmate at one time, right?
I was in 11 different federal prisons over a 10-year period.
Did you ever attempt to do that with a staff member? And you don't have to tell me. And what I want to know is, when you did it, well, it's up to you, but when you did it, did you know what you were doing? Were you consciously trying to manipulate somebody, or was it just friendship?
Actually, I was. I knew what I could get away with. I don't want to sound rude, but these aren't the brightest people in the world. They can go around, they can count up to 100. But they're lonely. They're looking for mental satisfaction. And a lot of the inmates are smarter than the staff.
Did you or your peers, did you talk about this? And did you target vulnerable people?
I don't know that vulnerable people were targeted, because different inmates work with different staff members. But it was easy to pick the staff members out that you could approach.
Well, that's vulnerability. That's what that is.
Thank you.
Judy,
that's exactly what I was going to say, is that when you, whatever you want to call it, whether it's vulnerability, approachable, boundary issues, you gravitate towards people like that because you know they'll be receptive to you. And if you can get away with something and get something from it, why wouldn't you do that?
Deneen, our question to you is, should women even be working in maximum security? Well, it's a question. I'm just asking. Should they be in there at all?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. That's just like, in teaching professions or whatever. Absolutely. But you've got to be mature enough to establish your boundaries. In any type of situations, people are going to take advantage when they see a crack in the armor, and they're going to go for it. And these people, they're manipulators. They're predators. This is who they are. They're not necessarily unattractive or undesirable. They're normal human beings. And when you let them into your life as a staff worker, then you're opening the door to them being able to know more about you and to draw you into their world.
This is my thing right here. We are forgetting a big piece about this. I know that it hasn't been confirmed yet that she helped, but we have to go back into her history. She was cheating on her ex-husbands, on other people, allegedly. Well, some of the people, her ex-husbands, came up and spoke up about this. So we have to think about how she perceives her morality, how she perceives the world. So sometimes when I'm hearing this and thinking that she was vulnerable and that she was manipulated, it just doesn't sit right with me in this case.
I mean, hang on, Sam, Judy, wait, Sam.
Aside from her marital affairs, the fact that I don't feel sorry for her one bit, because if she did, I know it's not confirmed, but if she did help these prisoners out, and God forbid they kill somebody, then the blood is on her hands too.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the audience. Question?
Hi there. I just gotta say, don't you think that these prisoners lost their right to get married in prison? I feel like...
Hang on, Larry.
A prisoner does not lose his constitutional rights at the prison gates. And that was decided by the U.S. Supreme Court several years ago. So they do have the right to marry. I mean, look at Charles Manson in California. He had a woman that was just going to marry him. The marriage didn't go through, but you do not lose your rights.
I feel like they were convicted and they should wait until they serve their time, their debt to society, and marry when they get out.
Yeah, I love how Charles Manson can get married, but certain
like the LGBT people can. Yeah, same-sex couples can't get married. It's ridiculous.
Well, that is ridiculous.
But I also think with the lady that was on air, she said, Miss Brown, she said that she went into this relationship not feeling manipulated and that she's in love with this man. Yeah. And so when I hear her story, it only confirms in my mind that this woman allegedly was in a place where she knew what she was doing and what she was getting into.
Karamo, that's the whole point of deception. When somebody hooks you in like that, you actually do believe it's genuine. Otherwise, why would you put your life on the line for them?
I think Katie, who I was talking to, had been manipulated by this guy, and it feels real to her. But and people, to be fair, people in relationships like that of all different kinds, whether you're in a cultish relationship or whether you're in a romantic relationship that isn't going that well, things can become manipulative. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I don't really understand how you could find love and comfort in the arms of a person who could commit murder. Like, it's such an unloving act. How can you find love in that person?
There's a, well, first of all, I'll ask Larry that question too, but they can be manipulative, but there's this thing that humans do, it's called denial. Denial is extremely powerful. And if somebody is love addicted or love needy or vulnerable or in pain for some reason, and that person sees it, they can go after it. Larry.
Well, let's look at Joyce Mitchell, since she's the subject. She meets the criteria of somebody who's lonely, she's overweight, she's not real attractive.
Well, my understanding is you described her, you profiled her before she was ever identified.
I profiled her before the FBI did, before any of the news organizations did. She meets all the criteria, and he mentally got into her head. I believe, now this is speculation, of course.
This is your personal opinion.
Based on things that I saw while I was in custody, I personally have knowledge of female staff members that had sexual relationships with inmates, and it was common knowledge in the institution, and nobody did anything about it.
So bizarre to hear. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I think that when it comes down to Katie, the young lady we had on the phone, Miss Brown, that we have to consider the fact that people get married for different reasons.
Yes, they do.
You know, and so if you know, if she had her reasons for it, it is unfortunate that he is in prison. When it comes down to the woman who who's involved with this case that we're dealing with, it's a matter of unprofessionalism because this is her job.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of what we're talking about this week and today especially is people who we hold to a certain standard not doing their job the way we like them to do, whether it's the pool party, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, or it's this woman, or it's other people. Larry, you saw fraternizing with the personnel, the prisoners. It's about boundaries, and somehow we've lost track of that in this country. It's
I agree with you, Dr. Drew. That
let me stop. CNN's running this big thing on the 70s. The 70s is when boundaries cease to exist. It was like, hey, whatever you're into, man. It's whatever you're into. BS. I know. I was an adolescent kid going, what the hell's going on here? That's why I was so sensitive to it and saw it so vividly. And now we're trying to regain the ability to understand what's healthy and what's not, Judy.
That's right. And we have this reaction, the two of us especially, because we're licensed professionals and we have a board that actually helps us monitor our professionalism. In this case, this individual, she's not on a board, but it's almost as important, if not more important, for her to hold her boundaries too. There's just no governing body. There's not even a central place that you can go to advise about this type of thing.
Judy, here's what mental health is, guys. I got to get out. But mental health is about dealing with reality. Reality's terms, seeing reality for what it is, seeing people for who they are, not being in denial about stuff, and then maintaining healthy boundaries. Think about it. We're back after this.